moving forward and keep us competitive as we move into next season. So with that being said, we can open it up for questions.
All right, first question, Matt Preen.
Yeah, Dan, just what's been the last 24, 48, 72 hours been like, and just the twists and turns from it? How would you describe just the finishing touches your staff has been able to accomplish?
Well, at the end of the day, you want to be in position when you get down to the end. And I think every one of us has had our phones plugged in pretty much nonstop for the last 48. And there's been a lot of conversations. And, one thing I think that we'll spend a lot of time on is we're never going to trick someone into coming to Oregon. We want someone to pick Oregon because it's the right field for them in their heart. They know it's a place they can grow and they can get better. And same for us. I think when there's a sales pitch that doesn't fit, what you realize is you're going to lose people in your program. And one thing that I'm proud of right now is if you look at our freshmen, we don't have a single freshman in the transfer portal right now. What's that mean? It means what we said last year is reality, right? And the people we're able to bring on board, we're excited about the direction we're headed. And that's the same thing we're looking for as we add pieces moving forward.
James Crapia.
Dan, for even those who follow recruiting pretty closely, a lot is being made of flipping guys today and surprises and those things, but obviously you're far more plugged in and know everything that's going on behind the scenes. So just how much of the day, if at all, has been or will be surprising to you, or how much of this has been just a lot of work that becomes unexpected surprises for those on the outside, but things that you guys were kind of plugged in to and the months leading up to this?
Yeah, really a combination of both. Generally there's not a lot of opportunities where you get to the hat ceremony, you don't know where you sit. I would say that we were really clued in to be in great position on a lot of these as they finished and have, had a lot of confidence, really securing a lot of that confidence last night as we were able to roll into the day. And, but yeah, there's certainly some moments where you get up there and you feel like you're right there in the fight and you don't know. So it's been a pleasant surprise. We've gotten, I think everyone sees what we're building, and I think there's some players that want to be a part of something special, and all this does is create momentum for us moving forward, and they realize that you can reach all of your goals and aspirations right here.
Zach Neal.
Coach, I'm wondering what it was like kind of watching Will Stein, your new offensive coordinator, go to work over the past couple of weeks. And once you guys had to pivot at quarterback and seeing where he went and how those relationships that he built with Austin kind of allowed that to come to fruition.
Yeah, Will's a guy that's felt very strong from the moment he stepped on campus about Austin. And obviously Austin's a guy that he had a relationship with all the way back to when Austin was in 8th grade. And I think when you watch the film and you start to do a deep dive into Austin's character and learn more about his family, you realize right away what a special individual he is. But that's a place where Will's relationships really paid off. And he obviously did a phenomenal job there closing out.
Eric Scopel.
Coach, I guess I'm just curious how you would, just broad strokes, kind of characterize this class. I know there's moving parts still to finish it, but just kind of what are some of the adjectives you might use to describe what you guys have put together today?
The number one adjective I would use is winners, right? We got a bunch of winners in this group. Like I said, guys that are, state championships at their high school team, guys that have been captains for their team, guys that achieve really at a high level in the classroom. They're going to compete in some of these, championship bowl games. Some of these bowl games are going to get an opportunity to go compete at. And I think that speaks to how these guys are wired, right? They love competition. They're not afraid to be a part of a great class. Some guys are concerned about who else is going to be in the class with them and who they're going to have to compete against. These are guys that want to go play with the best because they know that really, that's going to result in wins, right? When you have great players around you, you have an opportunity to be a great team. And that's something I'm really excited about with this group.
Warren Williamson.
And I'm curious if there's a protocol in place for kids who flip from one school to the next. For instance, Dante, are they required, or is there a protocol where they call you and say, hey, coach, I'm flipping? And what are those conversations like?
I'm not going to speak to specific players other than the landscape of college football continues to change. And I think the teams that do the best job adapting are the teams that are going to be successful. And we have a staff that's elite, that's done a great job, of closing out. And we're going to lean on relationships for us to have, great success. And I think that's paying off right now. Ultimately, we're really excited about the guys we got coming into this program. And we have some guys that I think are going to make us a lot better moving forward.
Jacob Hammer.
Coach, I'm curious, what's the biggest differences between getting a class last year when you're coming in as a first-time head coach and kind of piecing together the 2022 recruiting class based on being the head coach this whole year and kind of working this whole time and, putting together what you think is the best opportunity to keep the program succeeding?
Yeah, ultimately the biggest thing, Jacob, is time, right? We had time to be really thorough and go back and evaluate. There's some guys that trusted us last year that stayed on board. I think I got hired and signing day was less than a week later, right? And it didn't necessarily provide a lot of opportunity for there was a little bit of a trust factor that had to go in there, but not the opportunity to develop relationships like we like to develop. And this year, what we had the opportunity to do that, to develop strong relationships going down the stretch, with guys that we think can impact us in a positive light.
Matt Preem.
State of Texas has been really good for you guys. There's some guys that you can't talk about right now, but I think the total is 6. That's the most since I think at least 2012. What was it that helped you have that success this year in the state of Texas? And how do you just envision recruiting that state moving forward, especially with Will's addition, another guy that has ties there?
Yeah, I think we're going to lean on some of our comfortability, and we have a lot of coaches that are familiar with that area. That being said, we feel like we can go anywhere in the nation and attack the best players in the nation and bring them aboard. But there's no doubt there's great talent in Texas, and as long as there's great talent in Texas, we're going to recruit it hard and do everything we can to make sure that talent makes its way to Oregon.
James Crapia.
I realize much is made about the signing day, Dan, but because of the periods that kind of converge simultaneously, it's so much about roster management and the portal and also retaining guys. So I realize he's not signed per se, but what kind of effect does Bo announcing that he's coming back have on what became of today? And in basketball, they talk about the Pied Piper effect. Do you believe that there's going to be a positive impact to that of not only who he's helped you recruit already out of the portal, but going forward here, the rest of this period of the portal window and in the spring portal window of having your quarterback back?
Yeah, we're excited for Bo. Ultimately, my goal as a coach is sitting back and making sure Bo feels comfortable about making the decision he has to move and make going forward for him. I wanted him to be able to do that with a clear mind and really have some time to sit down and process and evaluate his situation. I thought he did a phenomenal job of that. I thought he had a really strong circle of trust that he could really lean on. And I want to kind of step back and let him go through that process. And he did an exceptional job of that. But there's no doubt that great players want to play with great players, right? And Bo's a really talented player that makes us strong moving forward. And he certainly had a positive impact on us finishing down the stretch, and we'll continue to do that, as we move forward.
Ralph Russo, AP.
Hey, Dan, how are you? Congratulations on a good day.
Thanks.
When Oregon makes a big splash on a day like today, really anybody, there's a lot you'll hear people say, well, NIL is what's driving all this stuff. And NIL is a piece of recruiting, I'm sure. But I guess when you hear that NIL is driving all this stuff, what is your reaction?
Well, I think it's great to be in a place where you can be innovative and ahead of the curve. But I think anybody that really knows college football right now knows there's a lot more to recruiting than NIL. Nobody picks the place just because of those factors. Certainly some of those factors matter, and you want to be in a place where you can build a brand. I don't think there's anywhere in the nation that's better than Oregon when it comes to that, and being able to build a brand for yourself as a player. But it goes back to relationships, and the guys that we've been able to, pull and get on our team here, that's because of relationships. That's because of long-term relationships. And I think any of them would tell you that same thing. These guys are picking places based on what's the best opportunity for them. And that's what we continue to look for, is who can make us better and how can we make them better.
Zach Neal.
Coach, there are a lot of individual players I want to talk about. Obviously, a lot that you can't answer just yet, but one guy that stood out to me is Kenyon Sadiq, who I know you can talk about. I just want to hear what you thought from him in the recruiting process. His tape really just jumps off the film. Just kind of what you saw from him and how much of an instant impact he can have.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Kenyon. He obviously is a really talented player and probably is not get or receive the amount of attention that he deserves. I think anybody that watches the film can see that he's really good, and especially his athleticism shows up. He's got great size. He's a workout warrior. The guy loves the gym, wants to be great, is excited to be a part of what we're building here at Oregon. So that's one of these guys that fits every characteristic that we're looking for in our program as we build this program. So really pumped about him and him being part of what we're doing.
Eric Scopel.
Yeah, it looks like maybe about a third of the guys who are expected to sign or have signed are defensive line. Just kind of talk about what was important about kind of recruiting the trenches and what you think you accomplished there.
Yeah, I think anybody that knows football knows that the game's won up front, right? And if you want to be able to get the ball out to people in perimeter or have people on the perimeter make an impact, it starts with winning in the trenches. Having a great defensive line, having a great offensive line is a big part of our success, and will continue to be a big part of our success.
James.
Dan, following up on the NIL topic, because it comes up again everywhere. It's part of it. There's a lot of places, particularly in the SEC, where they're very out there and from the coaches, athletic directors, pounding the pavement and trying to galvanize their fan bases and say, hey, give to this collective. We got to support this. That has not been the stance here. And I know Division Street kind of operates in its own kind of entity and doesn't ask for input from directly from fans. Ducks Rising does. Well, I'm not saying good, bad, or otherwise about it, Dan. Just what is the strategy for you folks regarding it when others are out there and you've got ADs saying we need X many millions of dollars to keep our class together, but you guys have not necessarily gone that route. What the strategy is in terms of galvanizing fans for NIL purposes.
Yeah, I can't speak to other programs. We certainly want and will take all help we can get. So anybody that wants to help contribute, for us to have success, I think we welcome that. We just want to be able to do it the right way. And that's the key, is being able to do it the right way as you move forward. But we want to be able to support our student athletes. We want them to be able to take advantage of, the opportunities that sit in front of them. And I'm grateful that I'm in a place that's able to do that.
Matt Preem.
What did you like about Austin Novosad and just, the traits that he brings to this class? And just, did you get a feeling when he was on campus this past weekend that this was where it was going, or were you kind of up in the air on that?
Yeah, no, I absolutely. He has the ability to place the ball. I think if you watch his film, you're going to see some really accurate throws and challenging throws. A lot of quarterbacks might be able to throw a deep ball and throw, some quick game throws. One thing that shows up consistently with Austin is his ability to throw intermediate routes really accurately. I think that's hard to do in football. And then the more you're around him, you realize his intelligence and his desire to be great. This is a guy that's really hungry and I think really excited to have some great weapons around him. So his family, I just kind of fell in love with. And just the more I got to be around Austin, I realized that we were wired a similar way. And his relationship with Will, I think, is obviously something that we really wanted to tap into and we're able to utilize down the stretch.
Tyson Alger.
Internally amongst the program, is the portal like a taboo subject? Like, do you guys have conversations with players about, like, because it's just such a prevalent thing in football now, no matter what team you're coaching? Like, do you guys talk to players about like where their positions may be, or when somebody enters, is it just catching you guys as much by surprise as anybody else?
I think communication is key in any program. I think there's probably a lot more conversations that happen, and we're really open to conversations. We want guys to do what's best for them. And in this day and age, you can't hold grudges. You can't get upset with guys. You want people to be in an opportunity that they're happy about. And ultimately, I think we have a healthy locker room. We have, great continuity because we're able to be really open. And some guys are going to be the perfect fit for here, and some guys aren't. And that's going to happen. That's college football right now. But I'm certainly excited about the health of those conversations in our locker room. The fact that you're able to walk in the door and talk to us about tough decisions, that's going to happen, and that's going to be common. And I wish nothing but the best for the people that are part of our program, or people that are moving on.
Time for two more. Let's go back to Eric Scopel.
Dan, I'm just curious with early enrollees. I know there's a lot of names to go through here, but do you have an idea of kind of how many at least there are going to be? And maybe you can name some names of players you expect to be here for spring. And it sounds like maybe some for even bowl prep. Yeah, I'm not going to hop into every single name. That would take a lot of time, Eric, but we're going to have around 15 guys, and we'll continue to look to enhance, as we move forward. That number could go slightly up, could go slightly down based on how quickly we can transition
transcripts and all those other moving parts that are part of that process.
Last question, Zach Neal.
Coach, how much does a win like today, I mean, these multiple flips, big commitments, how much does that carry forward into the future for you guys, maybe in the 2024, 2025 class, other players seeing this type of day that you had, these type of big commitments and saying, hey, I kind of want to join that too. How have you seen that happen in the past?
You know, I've always felt like championships are really won in recruiting, right? That's where it starts, but it's also just as much about championship culture. It's about having the right people on your team of people that are rowing the boat in the same direction. And if there's anything I'm excited about this class, I think we got a bunch of guys that are like-minded, anxious for growth, not afraid of hard work, and looking for the opportunity to build something really special. They see all the things that I see here at Oregon and want to be a part of it. So yeah, certainly we're going to build off this momentum. We got some great players here. We'll continue to acquire some great players moving forward here in the next 24 in the future. And certainly today does nothing but help that.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you. Have a great one.
All right. Thanks, everybody.